It's late April in New England, and along the margins of wetlands, bogs, and moist forests, white flowers are beginning to dapple large hedges, teeming with the season's first pollinators. Though many are aware of the numerous ephemerals blooming across the region's forests, fewer people venture into the seasonally deep and cold mud of the region's bogs to witness the spring bloom unique to these habitats. However, this plant is likely familiar to you if you've ever been in a grocery store, as these are the flowers of Vaccinium corymbosum, the northern Highbush blueberry. One of numerous species of Vaccinium native to New England, Vaccinium corymbosum shares a genus with the other quintessential New England crop, the American cranberry, Vaccinium macrocarpon, and its diminutive close cousin, the bog cranberry, Vaccinium oxycoccus. Other species, colloquially known as blueberries but preferring drier habitats, include Vaccinium angustifolium, the lowbrush blueberry, which is also of commercial importance, and Vaccinium pallidum, the so-called hillside blueberry. In alpine areas of New England, you may also encounter Vaccinium uliginosum or Vaccinium vitis idea, the alpine blueberry or lignanberry, respectively. But even this is far from exhaustive. All in all, there are over 13 species of Vaccinium native to New England, each with a unique habitat, appearance, and niche. Vaccinium finds itself placed in the family Ericaceae, being related to rhododendrons, laurels, but those in the genus Kalmia, huckleberries in the genus Galisacea, and even the famously parasitic monotropes like the ghostpipe, Monotropa uniflora. With a native range centered on coastal New England and the mid-Atlantic, Vaccinium corymbosum is also found in southern Nova Scotia and sporadically around the Great Lakes region, as well as at progressively higher elevations in southern Appalachia. Its preference for acidic soils means that it is much less frequently encountered in western New England, upstate New York, and the Midwest. As a cultivated crop, it has also been introduced to the Pacific Northwest, higher elevations in Ecuador, Western Europe, and New Zealand. Within its home range, it can be found in acidic bogs, pond edges, and sporadically in swamps and damp forests where it is tolerant of, but less robust in the shade. On the edges of acidic bogs, where it is especially vigorous and dominant, it shares habitat with numerous relatives like the he huckleberry, Lionia ligustrina, Rhododendron canadense, the rhodora, Chamaedaphne colliculata, so-called leatherleaf, Andromeda polifolia, bog rosemary, and its close but distinct cousin, the aforementioned Vaccinium oxycoccus, the bog cranberry, as well as two species of Kalmia, bog specialist Kalmia polifolia and acid lover Kalmia angustifolia, the bog and sheep laurel respectively. Also common in bogs like this are orchids such as Calopogon tuberosus, sedges like various Eriophorum species, carnivorous plants like Sarracenia purpurea, the famous purple pitcher plant, and sundews in the genus Drosera. All of these species carry specific adaptations to grow in the acidic, nutrient-deficient conditions of the bog. Plants in Ericaceae have an advantage and are prolific in bog communities as they are symbiotic with Ericoid mycorrhizae, fungus that colonize the roots of ericoid plants like Vaccinium corymbosum and are able to provide the plant nutrients like phosphorus and nitrogen that it gathers by breaking down the acidic, highly organic substrate found in bogs and similar habitats. Other anatomical traits of Vaccinium corymbosum include the highly characteristic urceolate or urn-shaped flowers. While not found on all members of the family, these fused five-petaled corollas are found on many species of Vaccinium and other members of the family Ericaceae, such as Galisacea baccata, the black huckleberry, and Arctostaphylos uvaursi, the bearberry. If one really gives the flowers a good look, they may notice the anthers are porocidal, meaning that the pollen must be purposefully shaken out by a pollinator rather than accidentally dusted onto them, as with most other flowering plants. As with all other Vaccinium and most members of Ericaceae, Vaccinium corymbosum has simple, alternate leaves that are hairless and even a bit waxy. The plant is deciduous and flushes red in the fall before dropping its leaves. Vaccinium corymbosum can grow to the size of a large shrub, while other members of the genus remain small, trailing plants, again like Vaccinium oxycoccus, or full-size trees like Vaccinium arboreum, which is found to the south of New England. The fruits of all Vaccinium species are fleshy berries, green when unripe and ripening to an array of colors from blues and purples to black, and even bright red in some species. The berries of all species are edible, but while some, like Vaccinium corymbosum or Vaccinium vitis, the lignan berry, are juicy and sweet with just a hint of tartness, others, like Vaccinium macrocarpon, the American cranberry, are renowned for their bitterness when raw. Others still, like Vaccinium staminium, the deerberry, are simply considered bland and unpalatable. Vaccinium corymbosum is one of the few plants both native to and economically important in New England, a trait it shares with close cousins Vaccinium angustifolium and Vaccinium macrocarpon. Since well before European colonization of North America, its fruits have been prized by humans and animals alike. As one of the first plants to bloom and therefore produce fruits in the year, sometimes as early as July, it is a vital and early source of nectar and food for insects, birds, humans, and other mammals. Now planted well outside of its native range, it is cultivated where soil and weather conditions allow. A relatively common shrub in damp areas of eastern New England and the mid-Atlantic, it is evidently difficult to cultivate in regions that are not naturally wet and acidic. Nevertheless, its fruits are prized both in New England and around the world. I sincerely hope you learned something from this video. I intend to revisit this format a bit more regularly, as it offers me a chance to convey more detail on our fascinating native species, as well as get more creative with the video editing. I hope you have an opportunity to enjoy some fresh, ripened blueberries at some point in the near future, and more importantly, visit these incredible plants in habitat either in bloom in early spring or in summer when the berries are choice. They're also easy to grow in the right conditions and are easily sourced from native nurseries. While many man-made cultivars dominate big box stores, the native ecotypes are only slightly less productive, but are much more beneficial to wildlife and are already perfectly adapted for New England's weather and pests. As always, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you.